I want to turn now to Angela Levin. She's a royal commentator, and she wrote the book on Harry, Conversations with the Prince, and she joins me from London today. Angela, good morning. It is nice to see you again. Just your overall reaction to what we heard last night from Meghan and Harry.
Well, at first, I could hardly believe my ears. My mouth was sort of dropped open. Nearly every sentence, seemed to be so shocking. The fact that she wanted to commit suicide was absolutely appalling. The fact she called everybody racist was appalling. However, a little later, in the middle of our night, I realized that there were numerous holes in these allegations, that not individuals weren't mentioned, nor were specific facts given. And I found it disbelieving, especially over the mental health attitude.
Why?
If you remember, Prince Harry was very depressed in his early 20s because the loss of his mother suddenly overwhelmed him again. And William helped him find a professional medical person who could help him. Prince Charles went to have comfort and help for his mental health when his marriage to Diana failed. He also recommended people for Diana to have help. There are so many excellent, outstanding doctors that hover around the royal family to help whenever they're needed, that I find it absolutely unbelievable that she was told it would have bad effect on the institution. Harry's talked about it enormously. William and Kate set up the Royal Foundation, which focuses on mental health. Surely Harry could have rung up the person who helped him or somebody else, for William might know, and say, look, Meghan really needs help here. And as for the money, which she alleged was not given to her, Harry is worth 30 million. Surely he could have delved into his pocket to help his wife. That's why, if I go through so many of the stories she said so firmly and with tears in her eyes, many of them are full of holes.
What do you think the fallout will be from this interview, Angela?
I think it's terrible. I'm not a believer in washing your private linen in public space, particularly if it's not royal. Whatever the royals have and haven't done, they are Harry's family, and they have loved him dearly and looked after him. And to humiliate them and accuse them so much, I think, is a very bad show. Now, as they live so far away, I think their influence on the country, although now everyone is completely absorbed in it, will diminish. They don't take into any account the timing of this interview when we're all still suffering from the pandemic, when people have lost loved ones, lost their jobs, are desperate, no money. And Prince Philip is seriously ill in hospital. I don't think the royal family will come back quickly with solutions. They might make a comment saying how sad they are about this, but there are other things. The Queen was very busy yesterday because it was Commonwealth Day. She's also very concerned about the public and how we're coping with the pandemic, and of course very worried about her husband. I think they're both so self-obsessed that they can't actually think that other people have important things to do, and particularly Harry's 94-year-old grandmother.
Angela, I hear you on every point. There are people, though, that are going to say, and maybe it's a cultural thing, I don't know, but there are people who are in Meghan's camp that will say, well, they have every right to speak their truth, that they have every right to set the record straight on things like whether or not which Duchess was crying over the dresses for the flower girls. So how do you respond to that, those people that are really firmly in Harry and Meghan's place and saying, you know, they did the right thing by exposing what was really going on at the palace?
Well, we're all entitled to our own view. I'm giving you my view. Prince Harry is certainly not the person I spent well over a year with. He was lively, vivacious, dedicated to his country. He's not that now. He is resentful, he's anxious. If they wanted to get it all out, well, they've now done it. But how many times are we going to hear their sob stories? They were given freedom. They wanted freedom. They've got it. They've found each other. They love each other. They've got one child and another on the way. They live in a magnificent house with 16 bathrooms. They've got a deal with Netflix and another huge deal with Spotify. I don't really think you should put yourself up as victims and complain. If other people think differently, that's fine. I don't.
Okay, one final question for you, Angela. And I do recall us talking before the wedding, the day before the wedding outside the palace. And as you point out, you have met many times with Harry. What specifically did you think of his answer to Oprah's question whether or not he would be removing himself or standing back from royal duties if he hadn't met Meghan? What did you think of his answer?
I thought it showed how much Meghan was in control of him, that he adores her and he will do anything to please her. And if she's unhappy with him being stuck in the royal family and wants to leave, that's what he'll do. I mean, he takes a very significant step back. For in his youth, he was always second to Prince William because he is on the line to be king, and now he seems to be happy second to Meghan.
Do you think these interviews age well? How does it compare to the Panorama interview from Diana?
Well, I think we can't compare one with one because times change and values change. But I do think that all the other royals who've given these big interviews, like Diana, like Prince Andrew, and like Prince Charles, always lived to regret it. Diana certainly did. She tried to make amends with Prince Charles shortly before she died. And I think that Harry may well look back on this and think how badly he behaved. I don't think Meghan will, because she hasn't understood the royal family from the start. And I don't think she tried very hard to. She realised it wasn't for her and she wanted out. But this is in the genes of Prince Harry. He's been brought up with this. He was brought up with a sense of duty. Diana brought him up. There's one of the few things that she and Charles agreed on. Both children would be brought up with a strong sense of duty to the monarchy. And it doesn't mean doing what you want. It means helping the Queen to fulfill what she thinks is needed. So that's a big difference. And I don't think Meghan grasped that at all.
Angela Levin, great to have you with us this morning. Angela is, of course, a royal commentator and author of the book, Harry, Conversations with the Prince.